What's going on, everybody? We are back. Week 18, regular season finale, Buffalo Bills recap for you. This one will kind of be short and sweet since it was mainly the Bills backups that played this game. Won't spend a whole lot of time kind of dissecting this one since it really was kind of meaningless for both teams. But I will give a brief breakdown, and then we will preview the wild card matchup coming up this Sunday. But first things first, we'll do a brief summary of the Bills-Jets game. Like I said, this was mainly it was basically a meaningless game for both teams. Jets are the Jets. They were obviously gonna try and see what they had, and evaluate where they need to go. Buffalo just trying to get to the playoffs as healthy as possible, rest some guys, things like that. We saw Josh Allen come out and take the first snap like he did last year to keep his consecutive start streak alive, the longest active streak by a QB in the league right now. So he's got that going for him, but came out, took one snap, handed it off to James Cook, and then exited the game and handed it over to Mitch Trubisky. And shout out to Mitch, man. He made the most of his opportunity this week. Came out and, albeit it was a very bad Jets team, he lit them up, man. He went for 259 and 4 tutties. So, shout out to Mitch. He did the best with the opportunity he was given. So, it's stuff like that, games like that, that potentially could give him another starting job in the NFL. There's plenty of teams out there like the New York Jets that are in need of a quarterback. He did the whole bridge thing in Pittsburgh a couple years ago. That didn't work out for anybody, but he could potentially have just played himself into another opportunity there if he chose to follow that. He's a guy that's been in the league for a little bit now, so he may be content being Josh Allen's backup. Backup quarterback, they say, is the best, probably the best position in football, because you get paid a whole lot of money just to sit on the bench. So, this point of his career, who knows? He may be content doing that, but not to get off the rails. But yeah, Mitch had a good game. Obviously, we were all kind of watching the James Cook rushing title. Since the Bills were in the 425 window, we saw Jonathan Taylor didn't do much in the 1 o'clock game, so Cook went into the game already leading. He came out, took a couple handoffs. I think he only ran for maybe 16 yards on like 3 carries or something like that. Just, I guess, enough to push him in the lead by over 150 yards. So it would have, took a masterclass game from Derrick Henry on Sunday Night Football to catch him. And he had a good game, just wasn't quite good enough to catch James Cook. So James Cook walks away with the 2025 rushing title. Shout out James Cook, first Bills player since I think they said 1976. O.J. Simpson was the last Bills running back to win the rushing title. So it's been a minute in Buffalo since we've had a league leading rusher. So it's pretty neat. I know a lot of the Bills O-line were really fired up about that, wanting to get it for him. So, but yeah, once Cook came out of the game, he handed everything over to Ray Davis, and shout out Ray Davis, man, another guy that did the most with the opportunity he was given yesterday. Went for over 150 yards rushing, a couple touchdowns himself. It was just pretty much a beatdown of the Jets. You know, I don't want to get too high on anything because, like I said, it was basically a preseason game. But you know, Buffalo's offense looked very in sync, moved the ball very well. I did find it hilarious that Josh Allen's not on the field, and all of a sudden Joe Brady's calling like this perfect offense where we're going play action, we're doing some bootlegs, we're getting, you know, Mitch out of the pocket. I mean, shoot, there was even 1 or 2 design runs for Mitch Trubisky, and I don't recall seeing one wide receiver screen yesterday. And I found that very comical that the offense looked really in sync and moved the ball very well yesterday. And hopefully that's how maybe he'll call the playoff games, because offense looked pretty good yesterday. I mean, I know, again, we're judging it off the Jets, but I mean, looked pretty good to me. So what do I know, I guess. But defense, shout out to the defense. Again, not taking too much away from it, but something that they just continue to build on. I mean, they held the Jets off the scoreboard until the fourth quarter, and I mean, they looked pretty dominating, even in mainly backup positions. They force a lot of 3 and outs. Still having trouble getting to the quarterback. Again, that's just a very concerning area on that defense, is their lack of a pass rush. Even against the lesser opponent, it seemed like yesterday they were struggling to get after the quarterback. So but yeah, other than that, man, I mean, just something they continue to build off of. I mean, we documented how well they played against Philly, and you know, they just kind of continue to gain momentum towards the playoffs. So we'll see if that's you know, just something more they can continue to build off of going into the postseason. Special teams wise, something to monitor. The Bills, like we touched on last week, have a bit of a kicker situation going on. Matt Prater had missed the prior 2 weeks with a quad injury. He worked his way back. He was able to start this game, but was ruled out, I think, before halftime, or maybe it was after halftime. It was somewhere towards the middle of the game. They came over the broadcast, said that he had been ruled out for the rest of the game. He had re-aggravated that quad, so something to keep an eye on there, because I mean, looking at the free agent kickers that are out there, I mean, there's really nobody that's jumping off the page at you that's going to be, you know, somebody that makes you feel good. I mean, you brought in Badgley, who was, you know, in the Bills' eyes, the best of the available kickers, and we all saw what happened with him. So something to keep an eye on there. I'm doing this Monday afternoon, so there's already been a Monday presser from Sean McDermott. He has Prater listed as day-to-day, so he's not ruling him out for Sunday's game. I guess that's a plus, but at the same time, I mean, you got a 40-something-year-old kicker who's nursing a quad injury in his kicking leg. So I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go on that one, but it's definitely something to monitor, because we know in the playoffs, man, every point matters, and if we're going to be forced to go for a lot of 4th downs or go for 2-point conversions, I mean, that could be something that could be really costly. So something to monitor there on that front. Another takeaway from this game, Buffalo, I mean, we knew that more than likely we're going to be the 6th or the 7th seed, depending on the outcome of this game. Going into the game, the Chargers had already announced that none of their starters were going to be playing against you know, the Broncos team that was playing for the number 1 seed. So we kind of figured on the Chargers losing. We kind of figured on us beating the Jets. So, I mean, Bills fans were kind of set on the 6th seed already. So I feel like, you know, there's some frustration from Bills fans when we leave a game that was meaningless like yesterday's was, and we have a couple injuries in that game, and one of which was Maxwell Harrison, the Bills' rookie corner, who started the season out hurt and worked his way back after missing the first 6 games. Has really played pretty well, and they had him out there yesterday in, like I said, meaningless game, and he ends up hurting his ankle. They haven't said specifically, what the official diagnosis is of the ankle. It's just that McDermott has him listed as doubtful for Sunday, which is going to be a blow, because in a case like that, the Bills would fall back on a guy like Jamarcus Ingram, a guy that they had released whenever they had claimed Darius Slay off of waivers. Ingram gets claimed by the Texans, and now Buffalo's going even further down the depth chart without Slay, without Ingram, and now more than likely you're looking at like a Dane Jackson coming up off the practice squad, and we don't need that experiment, especially in the playoffs, especially against the Jacksonville Jaguars team, who is red hot right now and throwing the ball as good as anybody. So that's the frustrating part from yesterday's game, if you're going to take one away, is the fact that we got some guys banged up in a game that didn't matter. I mean, we were either going to go to Jacksonville, we were going to go to New England. To me, there's no difference. I mean, honestly, as a Bills fan, I'd rather go to New England. But either way, I don't know if it was to try and, since he's a rookie, just to get him some more snaps and playing time, or what. I don't know what the thinking was there, but obviously there was some kind of game plan, and it backfired on Buffalo. So, and then there was also rumors, for the last couple of weeks of potentially the Bills may be able to get Ed Oliver back for the playoff run. Sounding like if he does come back, it probably wouldn't be until maybe the AFC Championship game if Buffalo were to make it that far. I guess he had some kind of a setback, rehabbing. Nothing to do with his pec. I guess it had something to do with his knee. He had some kind of microscopic cleaning or surgery or something on his knee done. So his availability, I think, is really probably not that realistic. I mean, if he comes back for the AFC Championship or potential Super Bowl, you're not getting a guy at 100% either way. So that's kind of a bummer, because that was kind of a lot of the hope of Bills fans, is that we were going to have him back for this push. But either way, the defense has kind of started to click here towards the end of the season, so might be all right. I guess we'll wait and see on that front. But that wraps it up for the regular season, man. Buffalo finishes with 12 wins. That's about a month and a half ago or so, I didn't think we'd get to maybe but 10 wins. So finishing with 12, I mean, it's a good season, right? I mean, you're going into the playoffs. They're the 6th seed. They're going to be traveling to Jacksonville this weekend. It's the 1 o'clock game on Sunday. I guess we'll get into a quick little preview of that matchup. I don't love that matchup for the Bills, if I'm being 100% honest. Jacksonville's red hot, like I said. I mean, granted, yes, they have played a bunch of lesser opponents for the past month and a half or so, but they've also beaten those opponents pretty handedly. So I don't know. They've really come on as a good passing unit. They're very good at stopping the run, and Buffalo's defense is supposedly one of the top 3 pass defenses in the NFL right now. But we just touched on it. We're more than likely going to be without Maxwell Harrison, so we're starting to get a little thin in the secondary. already. We're going to have more than likely we'll have Jordan Poyer back, but at that point you're having a guy that's more than likely not going to be 100%. He's also an aging, veteran in the league who, when he was signed, wasn't even supposed to be an everyday starter. You got Trey White, another guy that's an aging veteran. I mean, granted, he's played very well the last month or so, but just I don't know. I don't love that matchup. Then, like I said, they're one of the top run-stopping defenses. Obviously, Buffalo is the league leading rushing offense, so that'll be interesting to see. We'll see what Joe Brady has up his sleeve for that. I suspect it'll be a bunch of wide receiver screens if, history holds firm there. So, I don't know. I'm pulling for the Bills. I hope we win. I feel like if we can get past Jacksonville, I feel like we have a pretty doable path to get to the Super Bowl. I think this first round matchup is going to be very tough for the Bills. Like I said earlier, I'd much rather have gone against New England. We know what we're getting in New England. We've already beaten them on their home turf just a couple weeks ago. You've got a guy in Drake May who'll be making his first postseason start. So, there's going to be some nerves there. So, I don't know. In my eyes, the more favorable matchup for the Bills would have been New England. But at the same time, if the Chargers lost, I don't know. I don't get into all the analytics. Apparently, Buffalo felt pretty strong about their ability to play the Jaguars tough, so we'll see. Obviously, hope they win. Hopefully, this time next week when we're doing this, we're heading to the divisional round. So we'll see. I'm interested to see what this playoffs is going to produce, man. This has been such a wacky NFL season. A lot of teams doing things that I didn't see coming. So we'll even if the Bills weren't in it, I still think this would be an enjoyable playoff to watch for me. So, last thing I'll touch on before we get out of here, and this is no knock to one specific person because I've seen this posted all over social media pretty much since last night, ever since the Ravens got eliminated from the playoffs. I've seen it posted on every meme page. I've seen people talking about it on my friends list, and it's a narrative that just needs to die already. And it's the fact that there's no Patrick Mahomes, there's no Lamar Jackson, there's no Joe Burrow, there's no reason why Josh Allen should not win the Super Bowl this year. And I'm like, that narrative has got to die already. Like, Josh Allen is one player. He's a great player, but he's one player. You can use the Chiefs for example. Patrick Mahomes was out there for majority of the season, but before he got hurt, they looked terrible. And you're not going to sit there and say it's Patrick Mahomes' fault that the Chiefs were bad. You're going to say that the team around him sucked. And you could say that for Joe Burrow, even though he was hurt. So I guess that's a different argument. Same with Lamar. He was hurt for, a good chunk of the season. But to say that if the Bills don't win the Super Bowl this year because those guys didn't make the Super Bowl or the playoffs is just a bad argument in my opinion. How many times has Josh in the playoffs in his career had the game won, or at least had the Bills in a position late in games to win, and he's let down by somebody else on his team? The first thing that should jump to your mind is 13 seconds. He had that game won. Defense, that's not on him. Really, if I go back and look at the last couple years in the playoffs, the only bad game I can really recall him having was the Cincinnati game in Buffalo when it was snowing and they had that whole, drama fest with Diggs on the sideline. That wasn't a good game. But I mean, all these other games, man, it's not on Josh. He's got receivers that drop catches. He's got kickers that miss kicks. He's got defense that just folds under pressure and lets the other team right back in the game. Like, football is such a team sport, so to put that narrative out there is just, it's lazy. And I get Josh Allen's probably one of the most hated quarterbacks for some reason. I mean, he's such a good dude. I mean, all the work he does for charities in Buffalo, and I guess because he flops like LeBron sometimes, that people don't like him because of that, or I don't know. But I'll stick up and defend that man every day for the rest of his career, because he's a unicorn of a player and does not deserve the hate that is being thrown his way. So if you're on that bandwagon, you need to really reevaluate yourself, because that's just a bad take. I mean, Buffalo, that narrative's so bad that if the Bills were to go and win the Super Bowl, then it's those same people that would turn around and say, yeah, well, does it really count though, because Burrow didn't make it and Mahomes did? Like, there's no pleasing them. So just let that die. Let's sit back. Let's enjoy some playoff football, and may the best team win, man. Hopefully it's the Bills. Been waiting a very long time. I mean, it's been basically my whole life since they were last in the Super Bowl. I was a toddler the last time they were in the Super Bowl. So I mean, I just love to get back. So let's enjoy some football. I'm gonna quit talking now. If your team's in the playoffs, good luck to you. Hopefully it's not against the Bills. And if your team's not in the playoffs, I don't want to hear nobody talking in the comments. So appreciate y'all for listening. We will see y'all next week, post wildcard edition. And as always, go Bills.